Hello everyone, Parallel here. Welcome back to Star Trek Online. And oh boy, we have gotten some exciting information over the last 24 hours regarding the upcoming expansion, Victory is Life. This is the 4th expansion for Star Trek Online, and we now finally have some concrete information about what we can expect. Now, this expansion was actually teased back in late last year at the Star Trek Vegas event, but at that point we didn't know anything about it, and now we finally have the details. So what I'd like to do in this video is go through all that we know so far. So I've been going through the Reddit posts by the developers. I watched the developer live stream. There was a couple articles posted. There was a blog post as well. There was even I think an article on GameSpot that had some information. So I've been going through all of that information, and I wanted to break this all down for you in this video now. Everything that we know about the expansion, and also what we don't know. There's quite a few things that have not been confirmed yet, or just have been confirmed to not be in the expansion. So I'd like to talk about those as well. And please let me know your input in the comments down below. I'm very curious what you guys think of all this, the details now we have about this expansion. Are you looking forward to it? Are you hyped? I think this expansion has a lot of potential. It's good to finally be excited about something in Star Trek Online, and to actually be looking forward to something, some new content, because it has been pretty dry lately. So I'm definitely pretty hyped myself. All right, so let's get started with some of the heavy hitting information here. So just real quick, kind of the high level information we've got. So this is the Victory is Life expansion. Is, of course, it's themed around the Dominion, the Gamma Quadrant, and Deep Space Nine in general. We know that it's going to be coming in June this year, so that's only a few months away, so not too far. Now, another thing we know right off the bat is that the level cap is going to be increased from level 60 to 65. So a lot of implications there that we'll talk about. But what else we got here? Of course, the expansion is going to be free. It's going to be free to play. So all the content will be there available to free-to-play players. And the big thing that everyone's excited about is they did announce in the blog post what voice actors they're going to be getting. So there are a lot of voice actors coming back for this expansion, as well as some new ones. So let's start out there. Let's talk about some of the new voice actors that are going to be coming. We got an official confirmation on 4 new voice actors. And forgive me if I butcher some of these names, but I'm not quite sure to pronounce all of them. But we've got Armin Shamirman, which is Quark. So we got Quark coming back. That's awesome. We got Renee Auberjonois, I believe is how you say it. I'm not quite sure, but that's Constable Odo, of course. And we got him in the very end of the last episode, Skila and Charybdis. And at the end of that episode, he made a little appearance, so it was pretty expected that he'd be coming in the expansion. We also heard that Nana Visitor is going to be coming back. That is, of course, Kira Nerys, and that is awesome. Very nice to see her coming back. And the other one, I'm trying to think, was there any other one that we got confirmed? So that was Quark, Constable Odo, Kira. Oh, and of course, the other one they confirmed was Martok was going to be coming back as well. So those are the ones we know for sure. Now, in the GameSpot article, they actually mentioned a few other ones, including Alexander Siddig, which is Julian Bashir, and Andrew Robinson, which is Elam Garak. So Garak and Bashir coming back. Now, I mean, I'm assuming since it was in a GameSpot article that this is pretty well confirmed, but it was not in the actual Cryptic official blog post. So I guess at this point, we'll wait and see, but it's all but confirmed at this point. And I think that's perfect. I loved Bashir and Garak. They were actually a good foil off of each other. They were good characters in Deep Space Nine, so it'll be great to see them back. So those are kind of the big things. Now that we got those out of the way, let's jump down into what the actual new content is going to be. You can see I'm actually here in my Jem'Hadar Heavy Dreadnought carrier, and I thought that'd be perfect for discussing this upcoming expansion because it kind of fits right along with the theme. I might also beam down into Deep Space Nine and check out Quarks and everything, but yep. So just sit back and relax, and we'll go through the rest of the content here that we know so far. Now, okay, so first thing, Oh, and there's the wormhole coming back. Good to see the wormhole. Now, first thing, one thing I want to mention right off the bat that a lot of people are concerned about is that there is not going to be a tier 7 ships in this upcoming expansion. So they are increasing the level cap to 65. So we get 5 new levels, but not a new tier of starship. So tier 6 still going to be the top of the line for this expansion. So it's going to be a long time away still before tier 7, if ever. Honestly, when I watched the live stream, the developers seemed very reluctant to talk about or even mention anything about tier 7. It seems like even if that is coming, it's going to be a long ways away. And so I can understand, honestly, based on the kind of debacle that tier 5 and tier 5U to tier 6 was back with the Delta Rising expansion, I can understand why they're reluctant to bring a new tier into the game. And honestly, I'm totally fine with that. If they just make, tier 6 ships, if they make the hull continue to scale up to 65, and everything along those lines, we should be fine. I don't see any huge reason to go to tier 7. And along those lines, there's confirmed there is going to be new tier 6 ships, of course. And in fact, one of them even had a leaked picture that has come out that I will show later, but it's a Cardassian ship coming out. So, and we do have confirmation that there will be Jem'Hadar ships as well. So those are the ships coming out with the expansion. Now, they did also mention there is going to be 6 episodes. So there's going to be a lot of new playable episodes. Now, I actually wanted to check. I'm on my temporal operative character here. I wanted to see, I don't remember exactly, in Agents of Yesterday, how many episodes did we get? Because I'm kind of curious how well that compares to our previous expansion here. 3, 4, 5, 6. So exactly the same number of missions as Agents of Yesterday. So I'm guessing that's kind of the size of the expansion we'd be looking at, something similar to Agents of Yesterday. It would be nice, I think, if it were more a larger expansion, like maybe along the lines of, the Romulus expansion, so, or Legacy of Romulus. So that would be awesome, but I don't know if we can expect that. I'm setting my expectations around the size of Agents of Yesterday. So we'll see how that goes. So what else have we got here? So they also mentioned, in addition to this, the 5 new levels, there's going to be a new progression system. Now, I tried to listen, when I was listening to the live stream, they did hint at a few things regarding this progression system, but it's still very vague at this point. In the live stream, they mentioned it would be more like how the specializations are, where it's more like supposedly a quote-unquote like infinite progression system, or a long-term progression system. So we'll have to see what they mean by that. I really don't know. I'm kind of hoping, and this would be my suggestion to Cryptic if anyone is listening, but I'm kind of hoping it's something similar to, like, say, Paragon levels in Diablo 3, where it'd be kind of cool to have like some account-wide bonus that you get that you can level up as you go, something that's kind of a prestige thing for, long-term players. I think that'd be really cool, and especially if it can be shared across all of your characters. That's what I'm hoping. It's not another thing. I don't really want to add grind to all of my alts and all of that stuff. That's not something I'd be looking forward to. So that's what I'm hoping it is, but we'll have to see. But a new progression system would be cool, as long as it is, rewarding and fulfilling and not too much of a grind. I'm all for that. What else have we got? So they also mentioned that there is going to be a Gamma Quadrant sector space map. So we will be traveling to the Gamma Quadrant. I'm assuming it'll be something along the lines of the, similar to how the Delta Quadrant is. I'm not sure how many sectors there will be, but again, my expectations would be about the size of the Gamma Quadrant. And in fact, they mentioned in the live stream that they talked about how you actually will get to the Gamma Quadrant, and you can see the wormhole here. They mentioned that you may travel through the wormhole, like you might go up to it and click on it, and there might be, like a dialogue that will come up to travel to the Gamma Quadrant. They also said they might actually move the wormhole into sector space, so you don't have to zone it here, into Deep Space Nine, and go through normal space here next to Deep Space Nine to get to the wormhole, which would probably be kind of handy. Again, they said it might be something similar to, like, say like the Dyson Sphere for getting to the Delta Quadrant. So That's what I would expect along those lines. But I think that is very cool to have a new, new sector in our galaxy map here. So finally, we'll actually have, if we zoom in here to the, the galaxy itself, you can see we've got Alpha and Beta Quadrant. We got one little slice of the Delta Quadrant, and we still have nothing in the Gamma Quadrant. So, yeah, that'll be a very welcome change. Some new space to go through. So very much looking forward to that. Now, something about this Gamma Quadrant that they mentioned that is actually sounds very unique and interesting, something that's not been done in the game before, and they're calling it a sector space battle zone. And that sounds really interesting because, in sector space you don't really do much right now. It's just for traveling between systems. And maybe doing some doffing missions, but nope, it's this new, I'm just kind of thinking of, it might be, assuming it's about the size of the Delta Quadrant, you're going to have this sector space here where there's actually some kind of running, battle zone or event that's going on in sector space. Now, they did say it's not actually going to be like ship-to-ship combat in sector space, but there is going to be some kind of event going on. I'm trying to figure out what it could be, but there's a lot of possibilities there. I think that'd be really, really cool. But that's something unique, something we haven't seen before. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Hopefully some more details will be coming out regarding this sector space battle zone in the the days to come here. I'm baffled. I don't even know what it could be. I mean, would it be like maybe alerts going around, or do you have to, maybe you have to control systems somehow? I don't know. Like, it's going to be interesting, but yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's just all speculation at this point. Now, one thing they did hint at, but is not quote unquote confirmed, is that there's going to be a rework of Deep Space Nine. They did say they weren't going to resize Deep Space Nine. You can actually see Deep Space Nine is like actually, compared to the show, is technically oversized. Like a Jem'Hadar, if I were an actual, Jem'Hadar dreadnought here parked, it would be much larger and relative to the size of Deep Space Nine. So that's been kind of a long-running, I don't know, I guess it's a minor complaint, but it's been a long-running issue that people have discussed in the community. Why don't they, make it more accurately sized? But developers kind of didn't want to do that. There's kind of too many dependencies on the size of the station right now. It's used in, this Deep Space Nine is used in, some, it's used in some, episode missions. It's used in some PvE queues, so they didn't want to mess with that. But I do believe that the interior will be very much reworked. There was some screenshots, with Quark's bar kind of shown in the background where it was a little bit reworked. So at this point, everyone's pretty much expecting that there's going to be a nice Deep Space Nine rework for at least the interior. So that will be cool. That'll be, yeah, much needed. That's been a long time coming. So that's looking fantastic. So yeah, why don't we head down to the interior here, and we'll go through the rest of the items. Now, so that's, I think, kind of the new content we're looking at as far as like some new systems and things. But of course, the big new feature of the expansion is going to be a new faction. So let's go ahead and head down here to ground. Now, this new faction is going to be, they're calling it the Jem'Hadar faction. So, and as of right now, the only species that is confirmed to be in this faction is the Jem'Hadar. Let's head over to Quarks. So they have not yet confirmed Cardassians, but I mean, we're all expecting it at this point, especially since one of the leaked screenshots of the ships was a Cardassian ship. I mean, it's pretty heavily implied at this point that Cardassians will be there as well, so that'd be something to get excited about. Playable Jem'Hadar and playable Cardassians. That would be really, really cool. So, what about this new faction? So you could be a Gem, you can make your own Jem'Hadar. That's really cool. You could be a Jem'Hadar warrior. What happens though? There's something actually very unique about this. Let me head over to the Dabo table here. But there's something very unique about this faction that's really, I think, a really good idea on Cryptic's part. And that is, this faction, if you start as playing as this faction, you will start at level 60. As a new player, you will start at level 60. And they confirmed in the live stream that even new players can do this. New players can start this faction right at level 60. So you don't have to go, you don't have to start at, even as a new player, you won't have to start at level 1. I was thinking it might be something like, in World of Warcraft where you have to have a level, I don't remember what it was, level 60 or something to be able to create a Death Knight, and that the Death Knights start at level 50, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. And I thought that might be something here, but no, they actually said as a new player, even if you don't have another level 60 or whatever, you will be able to start in the Jem'Hadar faction, and it will start you out at level 60. All I can say is I hope that the tutorial is very, very good, because starting out at level 60, you're going to have tons of bridge officer abilities, your tray is going to be full, and a new player is not going to know what the hell any of that stuff does. So it's going to be hard for a new player to jump in. I really hope there is a very good tutorial mission or something going on for this faction that explains all of that, especially if they're starting at level 60. So what else do we know about this faction? Now, since they will be starting at level 60, these characters, you're going to actually start with some kind of a template or something regarding your reputations and your specializations. So if we go over here and look at our specializations, you're going to start out with some amount of specialization points already, and you're going to start out with some reputations already filled as well. Now, again, Cryptic was not very, didn't give a lot of details on the specifics here as far as what you're going to get. But it's not going to be like a blank slate. You're going to have some kind of a little bit of a head start as far as filling out your reputations and your specializations and all of that stuff. And I think that's important, but again, that's something that new players may have a problem with. It's these systems don't unlock in the normal game until level 50, and they kind of unlock over time. So if they're going to dump all this stuff on you right away, if they're going to give you a bunch of spec points, a bunch of reputations, they really need to explain what to do. And I do also hope that all the reputations that they start you out with, the what's the name of that little token that you can get here? It's the the upcoming officer sponsorship thing that will doubles all of your reputation gains. It'd be nice if they kind of gave that new character by default for all the factions, just to lessen the grind. That'd be very, very nice, especially for new players. That'd be really cool, Cryptic, if we could include that. That would be great. But I'm kind of curious how they're going to do this. Are they just going to give you tokens, and you can kind of, or like reputation tokens or something, and you can kind of choose which reputations you want? Or are they just going to give you like a, just say you're going to have, say, maybe the first like Omega through Delta or through the Iconian, maybe you'll just have those all maxed out, and then you'll have to level up the rest of them yourself, or maybe up through Temporal, maybe, because that was the last expansion. I don't know. And I'm not sure about specializations either, because I'm assuming they're not going to fill all of these out for you. Maybe they'll just give you like a nice chunk of maybe 60 specialization points, so you can kind of max out your choice of 2 specializations. Something along those lines would work. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how that will end up playing out, having all these sort of skills and reputations being given to you right at the beginning. But I think that's a good idea. I mean, again, lessening the grind is great. Getting people into the action quicker is great. So that's all great stuff. Now, they did say from the live stream, they did say that the Jem'Hadar faction, you are going to be able to still select a career. So when you create your Jem'Hadar character, you will be able to choose, tactical, engineering, or science, which is a little bit odd for a Jem'Hadar. I'm having a hard time picturing a scientific Jem'Hadar. They're pretty much just warriors. But so you will be able to choose your career, which is kind of neat. And there is going to be a tutorial mission, and they said, once you complete this tutorial missions, I don't know if it's going to be a series, or I don't know if that's part of the 6 episodes they already mentioned, but once you complete those tutorial missions, you will be able to then have access to all the level 60 content. So you'll be able to go back and do all of the previous episodes, all the content in Star Trek Online. You'll be able to do that after that tutorial. Now, they did hint in the live stream, they hinted that you will be joining either, the Federation, or, you'll be joining basically an existing faction. Sort of like, the Temporal, well, Temporal's always had to be Federation, but, like the Romulans, like once you got to a certain point in the storyline, the Romulans had to choose between Federation and KDF. I get the feeling that was heavily hinted that's going to be happening as well. And in all practical reasons, I think they have to do that, because I don't know that the population is enough for, to support a whole new faction. That'd mean like leveling up a whole new star base, because, and having a whole new fleet. I just don't think that would work out very well for the Jem'Hadar faction. So unless maybe, I don't know, unless there's some jury rigging they can do where it could be its own faction, but still share a star base with one of the existing factions, or being a fleet with KDF or Starfleet. That'd be nice if they added that, but and that's something they've talked about adding in the past, being able to have like mixed fleets. But without that kind of capability or functionality coming into the game, I don't see this Jem'Hadar faction staying as its own faction. I think it's going to either end up joining up with a Federation or Klingons. So what else we got here? Now, they did mention that a Jem'Hadar will start with their own ship. It's not going to be Federation or KDF. So I think we will be getting the Jem'Hadar faction will at least be getting their own ships. That's a very good sign. I'm happy about that. Maybe it'll be something along the lines of like Agents of Yesterday. Agents of Yesterday had kind of their own 23rd century themed ships. And so I'm thinking, these will be Cardassian themed ships and Jem'Hadar themed ships that you'll be able to select. But again, it's kind of odd because you're already at level 60. So there's not like that progression going through all the different, every 10 levels going through a different tier and getting your promotion to a new ship, each 10 levels. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to actually work, if there is a progression to the ships in the Jem'Hadar faction. What else have we got? So a couple of just little tidbits here about the Jem'Hadar. So there is going to be completely new visuals for the Jem'Hadar faction. So there are NPC models and everything in the game right now for the Jem'Hadar, but they said that for this expansion, they did a complete rework of the Jem'Hadar character model, and it's going to be, available. You'll be able to do tailoring and all of that stuff and customize to some extent. They weren't, very specific on that, but you will be able to customize your character as a Jem'Hadar, and that's great. They did say that for whatever reason, they weren't going to probably wouldn't go back to the old Jem'Hadar bridge officers and rework the model on those. So those will probably just stay as they are today. But the player character models will definitely be updated and upgraded to the new visuals. They did mention, of course, there was going to be no female Jem'Hadar, because there are no female Jem'Hadar. They are, of course, made out of test tube. So they don't have gender. So they're all going to be male, or they all look male. I guess they're actually just genderless. They probably don't even have any means of reproducing on their own. So they're just genetic, genetic clones or creations that, that serve the founders. That's all they do. So, so that's what's going to be happening with the new faction. Now, a couple other little pieces of information that we got kind of sprinkled in that I thought I would mention. Let me go ahead and pull up that Cardassian ship that we were shown. They were a little bit coy about this ship in the live stream as well. Let me see. I got the picture up here. Hopefully you can see that. They were a little bit coy about this ship. It's like, I think this was probably released prematurely or something, like it slipped out, because they weren't really wanting to confirm that Cardassian were part of the faction, but having this ship here all but confirms that in my eyes. So I get the feeling that they will, in the coming weeks here, probably talk about, Cardassians being in as part of this faction. And I hope, Cryptic, please, I'd love to be a Vorta. That would be freaking awesome. I know they're not going to do founders. So I mean, let's all face it right now, guys. There's no way we're going to be able to be a founder or shape changer. But it's just very unlikely to happen. But I could see Vorta being a race. That would be pretty awesome. You could be Vorta, Cardassian, Jem'Hadar. Maybe they could... I'm trying to think of any other... I mean, there were other Gamma Quadrant races that were shown. I don't know. None of them were very major, but maybe some of those will end up making it in. But yeah, so that would be pretty awesome. Even if it was just those three. I really, really want to be Vorta. And they should probably throw like Alien in there as well. That'd be cool if they threw Alien in there. So that's awesome. Now, oh yeah, one other thing about Jem'Hadar. They did say they are going to have unique, excuse me, unique traits, racial traits. So that is something exciting. And again, Cryptic, please, can we have something like a Dominion superior operative or something along those lines? That would be awesome. I don't know why Romulans are the only ones that can have superior operatives. I'd love to see even like a Federation have like a Section 31 superior operative or something. That'd be pretty awesome. But hopefully Jem'Hadar will have some space trait that is really cool and makes them, you know, wanted. I'd love to see something for Vorta as well. Like Vorta could have some kind of a command-based space trait would be awesome. I don't know. There's so many possibilities there, but I'd love to play a Vorta. That would be pretty freaking awesome. So, all right. So, what else have we got? We got. So yeah, let's talk about the ship that I'm showing here. This is a Cardassian flight deck cruiser, and it actually looks. I gotta say, this looks pretty freaking badass. Again, the Starship artists have really outdone themselves. I like how it maintains the Cardassian theme, but it does look, you know, freshened up. It looks new. That's the thing that always kind of bugged me about Cardassians is they have very low variety of ship. It seems like the only ship you ever see is, you know, the Galar class. That's like all we ever see of Cardassians. So it's nice to see a different Cardassian ship that still kind of fits the theme. And so who knows what this thing is actually going to be capable of, but it looks pretty awesome. And so that's really cool. I'd love to see that being, you know, part of the faction or one of the ships you can get from the faction itself. So, you know, leveling up in the faction, that'd be great. So yeah, I can look forward to that flight deck cruiser. That would be awesome. Now, one thing they did also talk about in the live stream a little bit was the leveling curve. So they are adding those 5 new levels, 60 to 65. And they did mention that they're trying to keep the, you know, the experience curve pretty smooth or straight, you know, like a straight line for those 5 levels. So it should be, you know, just like a leveling from 50 to 60, it should just follow right along that same leveling curve from 60 to 65. So it's not going to be some huge jump. Like, for example, when Delta Rising first came out, like 50 to 60 was like a huge jump in XP. And they eventually, you know, they went back and kind of smoothed that out later, which I think was a good idea. But it sounds like for 60 to 65, you will just have that same kind of a leveling curve. And they even mentioned that, you know, doing the episodes will very likely get you almost all the way to 65, because just playing through those 6 episodes, and, you know, in the expansion, each episode will probably, you know, reward a little under a level's worth of experience. So just playing through the episodes will probably get you most of the leveling, you know, complete you through most of the leveling process, which I think is great. I know Delta Rising, one of the problems there was you had to grind through a lot of patrols and stuff. It was really painful to do that for leveling 50 to 60. It's not so bad anymore because there's so many episodes now that you don't have to do all that grinding anymore. But back when it was first released, there was only a few episodes, and a lot of them was just like patrols, and so it was a little bit more of a grind. But it sounds like there's not too much to worry about for the 60 to 65. Now, one thing they didn't talk about, and was not confirmed at all, is that are they going to add a new Mark level for gear? Because right now, you know, we're limited to Mark 14 gears, kind of the top of the line for level 60. And if they're going from 60 to 65, there's a lot of speculation that they will be adding a Mark 15, for those extra 5 levels. And I have to say, I really hope they actually do that. I know a lot of people don't particularly enjoy the upgrade system, but just knowing the way this game is structured, I mean, Star Trek Online is, let's face it, it's a theme park MMO. It's vertical progression. When you go through a new level cap, you are expecting to increase your power vertically, and a Mark upgrade is probably the best way to do that. Maybe it doesn't have to be as huge of a Mark upgrade as it was from like 12 to 14, but I think it still should be there. We do need some vertical progression to chase after, as part of the expansion, as part of the level cap increase. So I do hope they have the Mark 15 added for our gear. It's something to work towards, and we'll, I think we'll add to the game. So they mentioned a few other just small things here that I'll just kind of list off. They did talk about there's going to be more experimental weapons coming. There's going to be a lot of more items being added to the re-engineering. So that's all some, just good stuff. They said they'll be doing that over time, but with the expansion, there's going to be a lot of new items added to the, re-engineering list. So that's something else to look forward to. One thing they kind of mentioned offhand is there's going to be a new user interface for the Jem'Hadar faction. And I think one of them mentioned that it was going to be a purple LCARS. So it's going to be like a purpley themed LCARS, which is kind of cool. Not quite sure. Honestly, I mean, I'm trying to think back to Deep Space Nine. I don't know that we really saw much of the Dominion computer interface, but I could see a purple LCARS working. So I thought was kind of cool, noteworthy. Now, one thing they didn't mention is if there's going to be a recruitment event. So, I'm on my temporal character here. This was actually my temporal recruit. And as a temporal recruit, you had all kinds of cool little benefits. So we had, there was all of the, if you were the recruit character, as you went through the missions and episodes as you were leveling up, there would be like these little portals that you could scan, and it would complete achievements, and you'd work towards those achievements. Where is my... I must have put it in my... I'll run over there. But, you've had that little transponder that you would use that would kind of keep track of all your achievements as a recruit, and you complete those achievements and you get all kinds of cool rewards. There were like starship traits you would get. There were mark boxes. There were DOFs, all kinds of cool stuff. So again, this faction is going to be different starting at level 60. You're not going to be redoing through all those missions. It's going to be a bit different, so I'm not quite sure how a recruit event would actually work for this, or if it would even make sense, given that, again, you are going to be starting at level 60. So where is my temporal... What was the thing even called? I haven't used it in so long. It was the temporal transponder or something? Man, I got so many tokens from so many events sitting around here. It's not the data recorder. It's not the data receiver. But, recruitment event, I'm not quite sure how that would work. I mean, I guess I would kind of like to see one. But, I guess if it's not there, it's not a huge deal because of how different this faction is going to be through the leveling process. And we don't have any word if there's going to be a new reputation as well. Because a new... It's the temporal transponder. It's this thing, isn't it? Yeah, okay. I was going to say, you just have to double click it. I thought there was a... You can't equip this, I don't think, can you? Oh, equip just brings this up. That was why I was confused. I was thinking it was like a device. Okay, so yeah, but here's the temporal agent. All the rewards you could get. There was so much. Look at this. I still haven't claimed some of these, but I did pretty much earn all the temporal rewards. But so many cool things you could unlock. It kind of was nice. But again, this is kind of an incentive to get someone to re-level again all the way to 60. And if you're not going through that process again, I don't quite know if a recruitment type event would work. So either way, I'm kind of indifferent if they're going to have another recruitment event or not. We'll have to see on that one. But again, also, they didn't mention if there's going to be a new reputation. I think personally, I believe there is going to be one. I mean, they released one with the Temporal Agent, Temporal or Agents of Yesterday expansion. So I'm very much expecting there's going to be a Dominion-themed, Gamma Quadrant-themed new reputation. I just I'm not looking forward to having another reputation to grind, but it's going to happen. I'd be pretty shocked if there was not a new reputation. All right, guys. So that's all I had in my notes. I think that pretty much covers pretty much everything that's been announced so far. As far as the vlog, all the articles we've seen so far, and the live stream as well. There was a lot of little tidbits in the live stream that the developers kind of let out as they're talking. So there was a lot of good little information there. But yeah, I mean, wow, the new expansion, finally we've got the details. It looks exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Now I'm actually kind of curious. This is another thing they didn't talk about is what's going to happen with our existing Dominion ships. So if you have a Jem'Hadar Dreadnought carrier, or maybe you have a bug ship or whatever, what's going to happen to those ships? Are those ships also going to be available as faction ships to the Jem'Hadar faction? Or are they still going to be lockbox ships? Or is it going to be like a variant of that available to the faction? I'm very curious to see what's going to happen there. Same thing with the Cardassian ships. They already have a Galler. They have the new Keldon class. Are those going to stay lockbox ships? Or are they going to have... they've got to have a Galler class of some description, right? They got to have some kind of Galler available to the faction if Cardassians do end up becoming to the Jem'Hadar faction. They've got to have that as an option. So yeah, still a lot of unanswered questions out there, but I'm still excited. I think with all the new features that they've released so far, the new sector space battle zone looks interesting. The new way the faction's going to work starting at level 60, that's going to be great. We don't have to regrind all of that again. So there's a lot of good things in here. I'm very excited about the new episodes, the new voice actors coming back. They really got quite a bit of the crew. There's even some speculation. There's a really good thread on Reddit where a lot of people have been guessing about who are the mystery characters in the photo. Let me pull up another photo for you here. This was from the official blog post. You can see the marketing art that they have here, which is actually fantastic. I don't know what artists they get to do this marketing art here, but this is great. They've got the 4 that they've confirmed so far, and they have these other darkened out characters. And a lot of people have been speculating as to who all of these are. As I said in the GameSpot article, they did seem to confirm that Bashir and Garrick were going to be in there, so probably a couple of those are them. But there's speculation about, is Ezri going to be coming back? I think that would be fantastic, because Ezri was kind of a really underused character. She was only in the final season of Deep Space Nine, and I thought Jadzia was a superior character, but I also think that Ezri didn't really have enough time to develop with just that one season. So if she came back into Star Trek Online, that'd be great. I'd love to see more Ezri. Yeah, that'd be great. They should give her like a TR-116 or something. That was one of my favorite episodes in Deep Space Nine, was the one where Ezri, they actually had the TR-116, and it was a sort of a detective story, and Ezri had to explore one of her past hosts that was a criminal. That was kind of cool. But that was a really great episode, and I think that would fit right. Bringing Ezri back would be awesome. That's who I'm hoping is. The other ones could be, Nog will probably come back. I'm wondering who else. Who else could we get there? But yeah, we'll see. There's lots of options out there, so it'd be great to bring almost the whole cast of DS9 back. I don't think they're going to get Cisco, but It's but having the rest of the cast back would be pretty fantastic. I'd really love to see O'Brien come back. O'Brien was always one of my favorite characters, so he'd be great to see him come back. But who knows? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see who all these other mystery characters are going to be. But yeah, guys, I think that pretty much covers it. Like I said, please let me know down in the comments below, what do you guys think of this expansion? What are your expectations? Are you looking forward to, the new, leveling 60 to 65, the new episodes, the new sector space battle zone? What are you looking forward to, and what are you concerned about as well? I kind of voiced my concerns as we were going through all the features here, so I'd be curious to see what you are concerned about, or if you have some reservations. Maybe you're not looking for maybe this new progression system. I'm a little bit worried that it could be grindy, so we'll have to see what happens there. But all right, guys, but I think that pretty much covers it for the video. Very excited, finally some new content, something to look forward to. I do know, obviously, I haven't been putting out very many videos on my channel just because, honestly, there hasn't been much to do in Star Trek Online lately. It's been very slow as far as content, but I do have a couple videos coming up planned, so you can look forward to a few things coming up here. I am actually going to do a video on, my next video is going to be on some advanced duty officer missioning, which is using the support colonization efforts missions in the star clusters. So I'll be doing a little bit of a guide video on that. That'll be coming up here pretty shortly, within the next week or so. So you can look forward to that. But otherwise, yeah, I'm hoping to, this will sort of reinvigorate my interest in Star Trek Online and get back to creating more videos. But all right, guys, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And yeah, that's all. Bye for now.